hello to all parents.
We are Tara, John and Crusoe, and we've been travelling since Crusoe was just 6 weeks old. In fact, you could say we've been travelling since he was minus 9 months old. Since Crusoe was born, our journey has taken us all over the place, to 3 different continents and to over 20 countries. Heading out to travel with your baby can be a daunting thought, and we've been asked so many times what our secret is to successful family travel. So in this video, we're going to share our top tips and ideas to help you travel successfully with your own baby. Stick around to the end for our most insightful tip of all. And if you like this video, remember, subscribe to our journey. We release our travel vlogs every Sunday. Thanks so much for watching.
Believing that your baby can handle a lot more than you think they can and that they will tell you when they're uncomfortable is key to enjoying travel. I could have been stopped doing so many things with Crusoe because I worry that he's uncomfortable, he's too cold, he's too hot, there's too much sun, he's tired, whatever it might be. But the truth is, Crusoe will tell us when he's had enough. And he can take a lot more than we think he can. He's been swimming in cold Portuguese rivers, in the sea in Wales in the summer, and today walking around Victoria Falls where the temperature is probably going to reach about 38-40 degrees at the heat of the day. We've planned our day so that we're here nice and early in the morning when it's still quite cool, and we now trust our little man that he can handle it and he's not going to get too freaked out by things or too uncomfortable and hot. And this afternoon we're going to push it just that little bit further and see how he goes. But you're going to have to wait to see what we're doing. You are my hero, little dude. The way this kid rolls with the punches is something else. Of course, Victoria Falls is not the only time we've pushed Crusoe to the limits of his comfort zone. When we were in Jordan, we took a day into the desert in the back of a Jeep, and we just made sure that we were prepared with everything he would need to have a good sleep, to stay in the shade, be comfortable, stay hydrated, and have everything he needed to eat. And it was the most amazing day. And since we're here, want to come and have a look at the falls? Take my football, Mom. You can take your football, Steve. So today is the perfect chance for us to talk about something that is super important, which is working to baby's schedule. Now, we're not big ones on routine and we don't get led by the routine too much, but roughly speaking, Crusoe has a morning nap and an afternoon nap. Today we have a long drive that's going to take us about 5 hours, if not slightly longer. So we've timed our day to work with his naps. So first things first, we need to do some grocery shopping for the next leg of our trip. So we're going to push him a little bit later today, head to the shops quickly, keep him awake, a bit of stimulation walking around the supermarket, and then we're going to hit the road and he's going to have his morning sleep, which will hopefully be about 2 hours. We'll stop and have a nice picnic lunch, let him have a roll around out of his car seat, and then carry on again for the last 2 in time for his afternoon sleep. And hopefully we'll have a happy baby on what is quite a long day in the car. Wish us luck. The best laid plans and all that.
Okay, little man.
Shopping's done.
Shopping is done. We're going to get in the car and you're going to have your morning nap.
What you might be thinking at this point is, well, that's how I organise my life at home anyway. But that's the whole point, is that we're not doing anything differently. We're just structuring Crusoe's days and our family days exactly as we would do if we were living at home. The only difference really is that we're on the road and we're just making it work for us while we're on the move. And about 5 minutes after we left, he's asleep.
Good boy.
Good boy.
He'll be out for about 2 hours now, so we'll be able to get a good way down the road. Then we'll have lunch, like Tara said, and then we'll play with Crusoe a little bit, and then we'll jump back in the car, and it's around about 9 o'clock in the morning now. I think we'll be pulling into our destination about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
And we've just pulled into a little town in between Crusoe's naps where there's a lovely coffee shop, a couple of shops, we can have a wander around, a cup of coffee, maybe a slice of cake before we hit the road again in time for the little man's afternoon snooze.
Let's do it.
So in this section, I'm going to share just a little bit about a few of the products that we found really useful. Before I do, we are in no way affiliated with any of these products, and I'm not going to go into anything medicinal, because that you should always check with your doctor to make sure that you have everything that you would need for your time on the road with your baby. But these are things that I did a bit of research on and I think have worked really, really well for us. So hopefully they might prove useful for you too. One of the first things I looked into for Crusoe when he was a little baby was sun cream, because you can't put conventional sun cream on a baby that's younger than 6 months old. And in fact, any sun cream before 6 months is not really recommended. But because we were doing so much traveling and we were spending so much time outside, we did need to consider sun protection for him. So I did a bit of research about what's best for young babies, and I came up with mineral-based sun cream. This is zinc-based, which means that the formula does not go into their skin. It's not absorbed into the skin. It sits on the skin and it reflects the sun away, and so you don't get toxicity of chemicals building up in their systems. This Think Baby one we bought off Amazon. It's worked brilliantly. He's never ever been burnt when he's had it on. It's SPF 50. It is thick and it's white on their skin, so it's not the most comfortable for them, but I think it's definitely best for teeny tiny babies. And then after he grew up a little bit and is now over 6 months old, we do use a sensitive kids water resistant sun cream. That's again 50 plus SPF factor, and this Nivea one has just been great. Really easy to put on. He doesn't mind it too much. It's not his favorite thing, but again, hasn't got burnt while wearing that, so highly recommend. The second thing that's been particularly important, especially on this trip through Africa, is insects and mosquitoes. We have traveled through some very low risk malaria areas, so we want to make sure that Crusoe is not bitten by mosquitoes. This is a 100% natural insect repellent. It's got citronella, lemon eucalyptus, neem and lemon bush essential oils. So it's very gentle on his skin, and it also isn't nasty for him to breathe in, and that has done wonders. Anyway, the next thing is Demol 200. This is a herbal extract anti-malarial mouth spray, which is a homeopathic remedy, has no side effects, and is very good at keeping little people safe from malaria. So these two things we are using obviously alongside standard precautions, which is getting Crusoe out of the way of mosquitoes during mosquito active hours. So he goes into a mosquito net protected area at dusk and also in the dawn hours until it's kind of safer enough for him to come out. Nothing is ever going to guarantee that he is completely safe from malaria, so traveling into malaria areas is a risk that we've chosen to take. And it's not for everybody. I do have very many friends who live and raise their children in very high risk malaria areas, and you know, people raise children and have children in these areas every single day. So it's a choice, and it's one that we've made, and we're doing everything we can to keep Crusoe extra safe. One little tip that came off of this bottle is that if you dress your baby in white, mosquitoes are less likely to be as attracted to them. They are attracted to dark colors and to blues, and so long white jammies or baby grows are quite handy in just reducing the risk of mosquito bites. We've included links for all of these products in the description below. As I say, once again, just to reiterate, we are in no way affiliated with these products. The only reason we're recommending them is because they've worked for us. We can't guarantee they will work for you, but we've thought they're brilliant, so we've put some links below just in case that's useful. Well, a key component of Crusoe's health and well-being is, of course, nutrition and what he's eating. In the next section, I'll talk about that in a lot more detail, but for now, these are a couple of things that we brought on our trip, which we purchased from home in the UK before we came. First of all, just a small selection of these little food pouches, which are packed with goodness. They're all organic. They've got no preservatives, E-numbers, artificial flavorings, colorings, anything like that. So well done, Ella's Kitchen. They've been fab for evenings where we're running a bit late, where we just need something quick and easy and we don't have time to cook. And in the car, snacks, also super handy, just to help keep Crusoe occupied and just fill any kind of hungry niggles that he might be having if we're on a long journey. So we brought a couple of packs of those from the UK as well, and they've been fab. But his favorite thing in the whole world...
Hang on a minute.
Apples. Let's talk about food. Feeding your baby on the road. It's not really the easiest thing, but we have made a plan. We are raising Crusoe plant-based, which means that we're focusing a lot on things like seeds, nuts and seeds, grains, lots of different veggies. So we don't have to worry about keeping meat cold or cooking meat properly. It's a little bit easier. And I'd say the two things that have made traveling with the baby and feeding possible. First thing is breastfeeding. I was really lucky and worked really hard to make breastfeeding a success. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, and I'm so grateful that I was able to make it work in the end. The second thing that we did is when we started weaning Crusoe onto solids or introducing solids, we took a baby-led weaning approach. Everybody's different and the way you feed your child is entirely up to you, but baby-led weaning has meant that we can be quite relaxed about what he eats now, and he can really, most of the time, just eat what we're eating. Like last night, this is our leftovers. I cooked it all together, but took Crusoe's out before I put in any salt, and now he's enjoying a whole bunch of different grains, some nuts and seeds with some nutritional yeast, some broccoli, some mushrooms, some peas, and it's just packed with goodness. And he's delighted and rubbing it all over the table.
Flying with a baby. Some parents' worst nightmare, but it doesn't have to be. Try these simple ideas to help you fly easier and more successfully. The pressure points are likely to be takeoff and landing, and this is most likely because of the pressure changes and their little ears popping. An easy fix we found was to feed our baby through the first and last 5 to 10 minutes. If that doesn't work, a gentle squeeze of your baby's nose as they cry might just ease the pressure in their ears. You'll also want to ensure that your flight times are best for your baby. Long-haul flights through the night will obviously be easier because your baby will sleep. Crusoe's longest flight was 12 hours and he had the best night's sleep of his life. Packing a change of clothes for everyone in the family is a good plan, just in case, and being smart with your hand luggage is also a good idea. Pack light if you can. Worth also paying attention to the airline's luggage policy. Often for babies, you get plenty of extra weight. Finally, if you are on a long haul, as soon as you get on the flight, ask for the baby cot or bassinet. If there are lots of babies on board, there won't be enough to go around. Happy flying, folks!
We are under the table at the moment because it's the best shade we've got, and it is really hot where we are at the moment in the middle of the desert in Namibia. This little seat we bought secondhand on Facebook Marketplace, something that we've done with almost all of Crusoe's stuff, and it's been amazing. It folds up flat so that we can pack it into the back of the van easily, and it's perfect to take into restaurants if they haven't got a high chair, or to just set him up in the campsite with us or in the hotel where we're staying.
Yeah, he seems pretty relaxed and pretty happy in it, doesn't he?
He's really happy in it, and I think would be really easy to take on planes, to travel with. Sorry, Marble. So yeah, this is something we definitely couldn't have lived without.
Yeah, and I think also when we put Crusoe in the chair, it makes him feel like it's time to eat.
Time, exactly. We really are trying very hard to make sure that we set Crusoe up for the best future as far as food's concerned, and this setup so that he knows that it's now food time and this is how we eat and we all eat together is really important, and that's going really, really well, and I think makes the high chair even more valuable. So, a travel cot, not something that we have travelled with, not something that we own, and we didn't think we'd need it, and we don't, but we've just spent a couple of nights in a hotel out of the truck, and we have had access to a travel cot, and actually it's proved super useful, not just for a place for Crusoe to sleep that's out of our bed for the first time in a long time, but more so as a place to contain him where he can play, and he's just starting to learn to pull himself up. So he's really happy in there, and I'm thinking about those campsites that we've been in and that we're going to, and it would just be really handy to have a place like this that we could put him in where he could play safely and actually practice some new motor skills and grow and develop. The biggest shift for us traveling with the baby as opposed to traveling before the baby is the amount of stuff that we need.
We are still really trying hard to pack light though, because the thing is, you don't need as much as you think you do. And these packing cubes, or squeeze bags as we call them, have been monumental for us ever since we moved into a van. And now the concept remains the same. Basically, we have one for John, one for me, and one for Crusoe. And it just helps us keep everything tidy and easy. And it's like having our own little wardrobe each. So when we do leave the van or the truck, it's just easy to take everything out and everybody knows where all their stuff is.
Other bits of kit that we find really useful and drag along with us. We love to travel light. This carrier here and this tent here, let me show you. So you'll have seen me walking around with Crusoe strapped to my front. He's getting a little bit bigger now, so that harness is becoming not as useful as it used to be. So we've got this. We love to hike. We hike everywhere. We go out for a walk almost every day. This is fantastic for Crusoe. It also comes with a little sunshade as well, and plenty of storage in the back there, so we don't have to carry Crusoe's nappy bag with us everywhere we go. This, we mentioned earlier, a place for Crusoe to play where the mosquitoes aren't going to get him. It is a wonder. Watch this. Yes, don't we love that? When it's in the morning or dusk, or even if we're in the middle of a desert and we're worried about wild animals, small wild animals, scorpions or snakes coming along, we can stick Crusoe in this and he's perfectly safe. He's not going to start picking up seeds or little rocks and putting them in his mouth.
So these bits of kit have been super useful for our trip around Africa. But when we were in the van, we had two other bits which we have to talk about because they were invaluable. The first thing was Crusoe's little bumbo seat, which had a small tray in the front of it, and it was perfect for Crusoe to sit in to keep him safe, but also to feed him as we started the journey of introducing him to solids. The second thing was an enormous big rug which we put into the back of the van. Thankfully we had lots of space and this rug at home that we weren't actually using at the time. So it slipped into the back of the van and we were able to roll it out in front of the van and have a place that Crusoe could roll around on, play on, that wasn't again kind of in amongst the stones and sticks and bits of things that he could choke on. One of our most important lessons to impart when travelling with a baby is to remain flexible and adaptable.
Absolutely, and this is super easy and super important and obvious too. So for example, right now, here we are, we're driving through the Namibian desert. We've just left the heat of the desert. It's 40 degrees centigrade outside, and so really, really hot. The coolest place, because we're camping, is inside the car because it's got air conditioning.
Yeah.
We had planned to spend another night at that campsite there. It's just too hot. So what we've decided to do is drive during the hottest part of the day, so that we're in the air-conditioned car, towards our next destination. It's going to cost us an extra £20 in campsite fees, but it just means that everybody's nice and cool, and Crusoe especially can have his afternoon nap in the aircon. So another time we had to compromise would have been
when we were up in Scotland, when Crusoe was 7 weeks old and we started our travels with him in the van, and actually a similar situation to do with weather and temperature, but the opposite end of the scale. Scotland was really, really cold and we arrived on the Isle of Skye and it was chilly, and we as new parents were too nervous to spend the first few nights in the van because we were unsure as to how to control Crusoe's temperature properly.
Yeah.
And so for the first 3 nights we booked into a very cheap and inexpensive Airbnb on the Isle of Skye until we felt confident enough that we had everything we needed in the van to make sure that Crusoe was safe and comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's really key, isn't it? If you don't feel confident, if you don't feel sure, don't do it.
Yeah.
Find a different solution.
Yeah.
But don't forget about what you were going to do. Perhaps circle back when you've got a little bit more confidence and try again a little bit later.
Yeah.
One thing we know, absolute fact, is if Crusoe, our little boy, is uncomfortable, he's going to tell us straight away.
Absolutely. An invaluable little bit of advice and tip: accept help whenever it is offered. If only you grew more arms when you had a baby, because sometimes you just need them. Crusoe has fallen asleep on the way to the airport.
Yeah.
So we have a very kind lady who's offered to help us push our trolley.
As we promised at the start of this video, our final thought for you is likely our most important. With this small detail, everything else will almost certainly fall into place. What is it? Well, it's simple really. Remember that it's your journey too. Your baby isn't making the choice to leave home, you are. So it's important to remember that while you're on the road, in that hotel, or having that evening meal, the reason for doing that is you. You want this. We hear you when you sigh and say, but my baby just won't let me do that. And we remember taking turns at restaurant tables, eating dinner individually on our own, because he just would not stop crying. We also remember no sleep for days on end. Wait. We still have nights of little sleep or no sleep, and then trying to enjoy a day exploring, tired and irritable. So I guess what we're saying is it's not going to be easy. There are days when home is all we want, but if you stay organised, flexible, and above all focused on your experience, you'll be coming home with more than cute videos and photos of your baby in cool places. You'll be coming home with life experiences and memories that you will cherish forever.
Of course, your baby is pretty unlikely to remember these memories for themselves, but we are big believers that the photos and videos from our travels with Crusoe are going to be pivotal in helping him identify his own identity and learn to be brave, to think big, and to be a real little explorer.
Good luck, friends. If you've enjoyed watching this and found it useful, then please like and leave us a comment. And if you'd like to follow the ups and downs of our own journey, perhaps pick up some more tips along the way, then please do subscribe and turn on notifications so that you never miss an episode. We'll see you every Sunday. Thanks for watching, and thanks so much for your support.